Welcome to the Lost Lowdown podcast 174 with your hosts Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
Hey, we're back, continuing our season 5 commentary series with episode 505. This place is death.
Death.
So, they were in purgatory the whole time. I think
Yeah.
this episode proves it.
Yeah, it's nice to find that out, finally.
And an episode title, no less.
Yeah. It's a big reveal.
Mm-hmm. Well, we knew it from the beginning, right?
Everyone knew it from the beginning.
Everyone who
But
didn't
we knew
watch
it more
the show.
so.
Well, it's nice they're finally fessing up to it. I remember this episode where Jin is like, "Hey, this place is death,"
Mm-hmm.
and Jacob's like, "Yeah, you're right,
Yep.
it is."
Wow,
And then
Jin.
the Man in Black's like, "I'd love to leave, but this place is dead." And Jin's like, "Tell me about it." And then they all laugh, and then the credits roll. That's what happens, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what I
just
remember.
making sure. No. Yeah, so this is a really, really, really interesting episode. We're deep into the time travel part of the season, and
Some might say too deep.
some might say too deep and too deep. We're at the point where they're really integrating our losties into the past. Big events on the island, and so obviously the big thing from this episode is the continuation of Jen with Rousseau and her science team.
Yeah, huge.
And we get to see huge. I mean, we get to see Robert and that fucking
You mean a whole
firing.
bear?
Yeah, sorry, Robert. And that firing pin, which was removed.
Right.
Feel like
And
the firing
Molton
pin's like a
and his
character on the
arm.
show.
And the firing
Yeah,
pin,
his arm and so much good stuff with that, and it's really interesting that small detail of from season 1 or whatever. When does Danielle show up?
Yeah, season 1, yeah.
Yeah, she's in season 1, and
The message in the pilot, and she shows up in episode 9.
Yeah, does anyone speak
Salted.
French? Well, Shannon sort of does.
Oh God, right, right.
And like that little detail about how Danielle got to the island, it's really interesting to explore that in a whole episode and to see how everything played out.
Right.
And how this is like this is sort of across the sea, but for Rousseau.
Yeah. Featuring Jin.
Featuring Jin. Who knew he was gonna be there?
Nobody did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it was in a way it was a good choice because looking back, I think we talked about it as we went through. Like looking back, there weren't any really big scenes between Rousseau and Jin. Like he is around her a couple times, but mostly in a larger group. And obviously, like part of the cover is like she went crazy, so who knows? I mean, like Claire forgot like what happened to her baby, so like it's
somehow, yeah, just
a certain amount of that apparently is just possible. But yeah, it's a really cool thing to see. And also, I think, I don't remember anything else. I mean, specifically, I think I'll remember it when we see it. But, like, the off-island stuff, I don't really remember what happens. I guess we're going to, go back to the dock scene or whatever. But this is actually a turning point in the season. Because after this... we're gonna go into like 316 and Life and Death of Jeremy Bentham and La Fleur, as we say in English. Basically it's pivoting from skipping around to random points in the island history, and we got to go back to we're back and. The Dharma
we gotta
stuff.
leave here. Now that we're back, we gotta leave here because we went back to the wrong time.
We're in the wrong place. Yeah, exactly. So, like, basically, to me, it's a shift in focus for the season, and I mean, also like for the show as a whole. But it really narrows down to like Dharma and the rest, Dharma and the rest,
Mm-hmm.
like the rest of the 316 people who crash, and what they do with Man in Black, and basically setting up the final stages of the loophole plan.
Yeah.
Like that's where the focus goes for the later half of the season, and it's really a big switch from this period where they're just like skipping around
Mm-hmm.
to like all sorts of crazy points in time on the island, and off the island it's like you said, chickens with their heads cut off, trying to figure out like why they have to go back.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta protect them, or maybe we gotta
Or
save them,
or
or
maybe it's what the island wants, or
yeah.
maybe, yeah, I don't know.
It's
Protect him from
Widmore.
Widmore, who doesn't care anymore, or like, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, like I think it's notable for that reason, because it's really the last time we get that. To me, like it was a fun era, and it's the kind of thing you could imagine. I mean, theoretically, I guess they could have flashed to across the sea. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's other reasons why they might not have wanted to put that at this point, but
Mm-hmm.
they go to some some of those earlier time periods.
Yeah.
Um, we see the well thing, and we see the statue,
Mm-hmm.
still in place. So, the idea that they could have, there's so much more they could have seen. Basically, Kelvin and Radzinski, Bonnie and Greta. Um, if you
Oh,
really
Bonnie
want
and Greta.
yeah.
Wow, blast from the
Yeah,
past.
yeah.
Jeez.
I remember at the beginning of season 6, I could listen to some podcasts. They were talking about, maybe we're gonna get more on Bonnie.
Oh, wow. The Looking Glass
Yeah,
others. Wow.
exactly. Yeah, what are they up to? What's going on? Yeah. I mean, and there's like tons of stuff that I think like the early history of the others was something that was underdeveloped. I mean, let's just say the others in general are underdeveloped, but
Mm-hmm.
I think we get the Richard Alpert episode, which kind of is the origin of the others, but and we get the next thing we get with them is the 50s, where they're like already a
Mm-hmm.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like there's a big missing piece there of like people coming, you
Yep.
know, what does Richard tell them?
Mm-hmm.
How do they form, into a group, and like how do they decide how they're going to interact with outsiders, especially since they're all outsiders at some point? Like, how does that work? You
Well,
know?
yeah. How do you buy into this mythology that you
Oh
didn't know
yeah, the
was
Jacob
real until
stuff.
you got to the island? Yeah, and how do
Yeah,
you buy into the idea that what matters most is protecting this island,
yeah,
in a realistic way? Because we see, obviously in other episodes how the Losties interact with those questions, but in
right.
terms of the others who really drank the Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
almost literally. Um, it'd be interesting to
I'm sure they
see
have
how that
Kool Aid
really
sometimes.
the Dharma bread and Kool Aid,
Exactly.
yeah, that the others could still,
Darmalade.
yeah, Dharmalade. Oh, geez, sounds like a podcast that no one should start.
It does.
Drinking the Dharmalade since 2018. Yeah, you're right. That there's a whole missing section of there. I guess what 1800s to the 1950s.
Yeah.
Is a
Yeah.
good chunk of time there.
We even get the 70s, and
Mm-hmm.
the progression from the 50s to the 70s like sort of makes sense because they or maybe more so a little after that, but I think there's still a connection. Like the military came, they were going to do some shit there, and so they killed them all.
Mm-hmm.
They
And
were
they
like,
tried to do the same to Dharma. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It fits in with like they have this established pattern, and we know that. They attack the Losties when they show up as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like, but there is a middle step there. But from like it's just Richard to like there's this whole crew that's committed to this stuff, including like Widmore and Nasaking and their
Well,
teenage
yeah.
years.
And what's interesting about the pattern, I guess we do have sort of three groups of people coming to the island while the others are there. You have the American military in the 50s, you have Dharma in the 70s, and you have the Losties in the 2000s. But what's interesting is by the time the Losties get there, Ben's in charge,
Right.
and now we've in this situation where Jacob has lists and there's candidates,
Right.
and it seems like obviously for how they wrote the show that there were no candidates in the group of military people from the 50s, and there were no candidates in the
Right.
Dharma initiative who mattered. Like all of a
Right.
sudden, it's when the Losties get there that the candidate stuff is really mattering.
Yeah. Yeah, the candidate plan is a little weird. I guess that's the reverse of the loophole plan. It's not really clear when he made the candidate plan. It's
Hmm.
not clear how he chose the candidates for the candidate plan, or how it was implemented. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
strange.
it seems like it should have been something like once, because I guess Jacob has no sense of how long he's going to live, right? I mean, at a certain point, once he realizes he's older than a natural age,
Right.
that calls into question how much longer he's going to live. But
Yeah.
it does seem like it should have been something like once he knows that man has some sort of proof that Men in Black will eventually kill him or can eventually kill him, then he should be looking for someone to replace him. So it'd be nice if it lined up to where once Man in Black has his loophole going, then Jacob's like, oh, okay, I see that my demise, it will come in a few decades or whatever the amount of time is, and therefore I need to like start finding these candidates, because Jacob has the lighthouse where he's looking out into the world at our losties and these broken people. I don't know if we're supposed to believe that he was doing that to other groups of people before the losties, or if
Hmm.
this was the first group he did that to. But he does bring people to the island, so I'm not sure if he brings them through the lighthouse thing, if
Right.
that's the device that he uses to somehow summon them or whatever, or if it's some other metaphysical thing. But yeah, that is a total plot hole of when did the whole candidate idea start? Because it's not even like Mother told him, okay, Jacob, and be sure that you have a replacement at some point because we won't live forever.
Right, right, right. I mean, part of Mother's story was like, I raised you so that one of you could take my place. So
Hmm.
there is
Hmm.
at least an implied, like, someone will need to replace you eventually, but she didn't really say that.
Hmm.
And it is true also that, by the 1800s, the Man in Black was already trying to kill Jacob. I mean, who knows how long he had been doing that?
Hmm.
But I mean, he does say like, if I die, someone will take my place. But had he really thought up the candidates at that point? Like, you know, it doesn't seem possible.
And who's going to take his place in the 1800s? I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly, exactly. I mean, would it be Richard at that point?
I was just going to say Richard would have been a much better Jacob than Jacob was. I feel like he would have actually talked to people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been better.
Man.
Yeah, so like I kind of I feel like the time travel was fun and interesting, and I guess like you don't want to overdo it, but I also feel like they kind of underutilized it. I mean, I think we got some nice like tidbits, if you will, but yeah, I feel like some of that other stuff, I mean, they don't have to fill in like everything, but stuff like that's pretty fundamental to what the show's about. You know,
Hmm.
Jacob's plan, my loophole episode, which I was envisioning my loophole episode as a flashback, like a traditional flashback episode,
Hmm.
because when they have the Man in Black, what they do is they flash sideways to Locke, which I think is kind of bullshit. Like I think it should have been Man in Black flashback,
Hmm.
where you know, because he's not in the afterlife. That's not him. He's not Locke.
Mm-mm.
And we see, you know, what was hinted at in the line about the loophole at the end of season 5, but never
Mm-hmm.
really explained.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think there was plenty to flesh out there and to, you know, um, uh, to kind of expand on in an episode form, to just say like, yes, this was part of the plan. You know, he
Mm-hmm.
found out about time travel this way, and he decided to use it like this, and you know,
Yeah.
um, and that could have, I don't know, that could have made that seem um, just a bit more real instead of this kind of half baked like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a loophole. Thank you. Good night. I don't ask me any more about it. It's a loophole. Just trust me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole thing with the rules and the loophole to the rules, and you guys can't hurt each other, but
Mm-hmm.
can't we? We won't ever try, so we
Right.
won't test that theory. But
Exactly.
you
Yeah. You think I'm not gonna
know,
do that? I was don't be here.
to quote the show, yep. Yeah, he really was petulant like Locke, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Indeed. Indeed.
Don't tell me what I can't do, and I can't fly over that goddamn water. Oh man, yeah. This whole last part of the show, with Jacob and Man in Black and all that stuff, gets really weird. Yeah. There's some good parts about it, and there's some really bad parts about it.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about Jacob and how we heard about him all throughout the show, and he's this legend, this myth that we don't really have concrete proof of until we get introduced to, when they have an actor be him, obviously.
Right.
And it reminds me, because obviously the rest of Jacob's story is really lackluster and really disappointing in a lot of ways. And even how he transfers control of the island to Jack was really weird and kind of like, is this even a real ritual? I guess, but it only lasted for like 5 seconds, so Jack could like
Yep.
defeat Man in Black, and then Hurley's in charge with no
Yeah.
ritual. But it reminds me of kind of this theme in Ridley Scott movies where the idea of like meeting your god is actually a bad idea.
Oh,
Because you
right.
see
Yeah.
that, in in
Prometheus.
uh in Blade Runner and in Prometheus,
Oh, yeah.
where in Blade Runner, at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, when Roy Batty like meets Tyrell and he wants to be saved from this, like, from his death, and it's Tyrell can't give him what he wants, and it's just like, and he just kills him. It's just a complete like waste of time. And sort of a similar thing with Prometheus, this whole idea of like going out into the stars to meet the engineers who engineered humanity, and it just being a bad idea. And really, Scott being a religious person, is really interesting to me that's what he dramatizes in a lot of his movies. Is yeah, the religion's there, the religiosity's there, but the idea of meeting your maker ends up badly for the
Right.
people who have been made, is an interesting thing. And yeah, it reminded me of that with Jacob, like meeting this deity and getting him in the flesh actually ruins his character. The more you find out about him and
Right.
what he did and didn't do,
Yeah.
really, really kind of ruins it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely, Jacob was more exciting to talk about and think about when it was just this kind of abstract idea, you
Hmm.
know. Um, and, when you even thought, like, oh, Christian is speaking for him. I mean, it's kind of crazy that, you know, that you can't just I mean, I guess it's classic Lindelof, but you can't just go back and like listen to what people said about Jacob and draw conclusions about Jacob, because people are wrong. People
Hmm.
say things based on who knows what misinformation. In the case of Christian, like deliberate lies. And so it's like you don't even know what was like in terms of the lists and stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
what you know. Uh, did he make the lists? Like,
Mm-hmm.
did he? Like Ben claims that he did.
Which
You
means he
know,
didn't.
but it to his face. And it's like, it's. I mean, maybe he's like, I don't have to dignify your lies with a response, but it's frustrating as a viewer to have been in a sort of very emotional explanation for
Mm-hmm.
why he's so angry at Jacob, why he feels so excluded or ignored or um, uh, you know set to the side in favor of Locke. Um, uh, by Jacob, if he's gonna go to like, I followed all your instructions. I
Mm-hmm.
every time Richard came to me with something you had with your lists, I did what they said. I got like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the time if we're supposed to believe that it's not true. Just as a viewer, and also just logically, for Jacob to be
Mm-hmm.
like, I never sent
Well, Liz.
lists.
Yeah, and that's paired with the idea from that that Jacob was hands off the whole time, right? So if he's hands off and he doesn't want to interfere with the humans on the island, then that would mean, yeah, he's not sending lists. But
Right.
then on the other side of that coin is there is the idea of the candidates and his replacement.
Yep.
So he would want to protect people who from the
Which
others
is kind
killing
of a
them or
listy
whatever,
thing.
which is a very listy thing. You might want to put those names in some sort of form, some sort of, I don't know, list. So yeah, so you really can't yeah, figure that out. And it seems like there's room for manipulation in there, right? For Man in Black to be impersonating Jacob and maybe sending the
Oh
list or
man,
something. But
fake lists. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Ben
So,
created lists, like Ben and
hmm
Black created lists. Who knows? I've heard Richard conspiracies that like Richard fabricated the lists and they
oh
didn't really come
no,
from Jacob. Like
oh no, we can't even trust Richard Alpert.
that's what I heard.
Et
That's what I
tu,
heard.
Ricardus? Et tu?
I don't really know why, but yeah, I do remember reading a theory that was specifically like insinuating that Richard has been lying for years about Jacob's instructions.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh jeez. Let's just call the whole thing off, right? Oh man. Yeah, I wouldn't go down that hole. We got to trust somebody.
It's
Richard
too much.
seems
I
he
agree.
seems eminently trustable
Yeah,
with what he knows and what he's doing because
it is
he's got no agenda.
right.
That's the thing. Like he's got no agenda other than um, protecting the island. Following Jacob, protecting the island. But he's not like power hungry like Ben or broken like Locke. So yeah, I wouldn't see the impetus for him to be lying and manufacturing things. And if that was true, then I would expect the show to hint at that somehow.
I agree. Yeah. Uh, the other thing that was like really disappointing as far as Richard goes is when they revealed that Richard was never told about the candidates. Like
Oh yeah, I remember hating that.
he's Jacob's like basically advisor, emissary figure to the people he brings to the island, some of whom, some might say the most important of whom, are candidates to replace
hmm
him,
Will
but he
be his
never.
boss at some point,
Yeah, but he
but
never mentioned that. Like that's ridiculous. I don't know if that was just a practicality that they felt that if Richard knew about this plan, it's going to cause too many problems. We just need to say that he didn't know, and we'll just take the
hmm
hit that it's shitty.
hmm
Or if there really is a good reason why he should not have known about that, like, because it was just like that was a really deflating moment in the show when they revealed that, because it was like, well, now Richard is just like he starts running around like a chicken with his head cut
Yeah,
off,
yeah. He
you
doesn't,
know?
and that's the thing. They make him like a regular other, where
Yeah,
you don't even know why you're doing what you're doing. Like
right.
you're not even plugged into the
Gonna blow
end
up that
game here.
plane.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the show, obviously has some religious themes in there, but this whole idea of following people and following orders and being a disciple, it makes me think of like, Bram and Alana, how they just
Oh
got
yeah.
completely horrible endings. Their deity was not there to save them.
Nope.
Even though, Jacob's supposed to be in some sense Alana's father, and she just
Mm-hmm.
gets blowed up like
Oh
nothing
well.
matters. Like, who
The
cares
island
about it?
was
Thanks.
done with her.
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Whatever
The
that
island's
means.
the island's done. Yeah. Um yeah, so it's interesting, like, um those parts of the story of Lost that are sort of centering around religion and belief and faith, and it's interesting because it seems to suggest like it's all bad. Like, there's sort of no good outcome in being a follower.
Yeah.
You're either, discarded, you're killed outright, you're either used, or you are clueless, and
Yeah.
like the others getting killed by the flaming arrows. You meet your end and you have no idea why, no idea what's going on.
Right.
Which is a lot like life, people have their like deathbed, what do you call it? Like, crises, crises of faith, it's like
Yeah.
they live the life of faith and they get to the end and they're like, well, Jesus, I don't know what I believe anymore. Like,
Right.
so it's interesting, it's a very interesting, like, subplot, I guess, of the show, or the
Yeah.
theme or whatever.
I think the Dogen plot is
Mm.
kind of along those lines as well.
Oh, for sure.
You know, he did this one bad thing, and so now it's like, I'll save your son, but you have to go to the island and then, eventually just be killed. And thanks.
Yeah, go to the island and be miserable for your entire time you're there, and then get killed and thanks.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah. It's working for Jacob is shitty. It's pretty clear.
Yeah, there's no pay, there's no benefits,
No.
and all you get at the end is death.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Surprise, you're dead. Well done.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's a weird way to write the sort of, Jacob. It's a weird thing that he's not. I mean, it's realistic in a way that he's kind of just another person, right?
Yeah.
That has some powers for some reason.
Yeah. And I think the show did acknowledge in a way that he was flawed,
Mm-hmm.
but I think kind of not enough
Yeah.
for how flawed they portrayed him.
And I also think the beginning of in Across the Sea, they made this weird declaration almost that's, I don't know, because Jacob was blonde, he was good, and Man in Black was brunette, he was bad. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as babies, as children, their fates are already decided.
Yeah.
Who's the good one and who's not. It's really
Yeah.
interesting. So yeah, and I think they set it up from the beginning where he's super flawed, but he thinks he's the good guy. You
Right.
know?
Right. Yeah, he's trapping the evil and stuff. Oh, that's the other moment. Again, the time travel revealing this would have been like way too much for this point in the show, but I feel like another big gap is between Across the Sea and Apaterno. Like,
Oh yeah.
like at what point did Jacob decide that the Man in Black was evil and therefore had to be trapped on
Well,
the island forever?
I think it's when he killed his brother and turned him into a smoke monster.
Was that the moment?
If there was a pivot point, I think that's it. Yeah, and I think it's a transferal or transference or whatever the word would be for, like, he had already thought right before Man in Black is the smoke monster. He already wants him not to leave because Mother says you can't leave, right?
Right.
But then when he is the smoke monster and he's dead, Man in Black smoke monster character, so it sort of morphs. It's the same reason. I mean, the same goal. He can't leave, but now the reasoning might be different because he's a smoke monster now.
Right.
So now the world will end if he leaves, whereas before, I don't think the world was going to end if he left. But now that he's evil incarnate, if he leaves, then fill in the blank of how the world will end. But that to me seems like what's going on. And then you go to the Swan Station idea of if you don't press the button every 108 seconds, the world will end. And I'm sure we talked about this a billion times, but maybe the connection there is if you don't press the button, the electromagnetism dissipates, and therefore the island barrier is gone,
right?
And then Man in Black can leave, and therefore
right.
the world will end because he
right.
can leave.
Right.
Right.
Maybe. But yeah, also, like, did he explain that at any point? I mean, we never saw him do it on screen, but
no.
That's shitty, though.
I do feel like he should have been like, "Yo, bro, you a fucking smoke monster, dude." Like,
seriously.
Like, how am I gonna let you leave when you're a cloud of smoke? Like, what we're doing here? Like,
Yeah, like there. I remember that scene in Abaturno when Man in Black's like, please just let me leave. And it's like, that's the moment, writers, where you have an easy, like, here's why you can't leave, bro. Like, exactly. Like, you a smoke monster.
I feel like it's like, listen, I'm not going to judge a book by its cover, but I will judge a monster by its smokiness. And you real smoky, homie. You real smoky. Yeah, it seems like but there's also that idea again of like he was primed by Mother to believe that his brother was bad, right?
Yeah. That's true. That is true.
Yeah, so he grows up believing that. He grows up believing we can't hurt each other, but I can't let him leave. He's not supposed to leave. And he sees, Mother basically died keeping Man in Black on the island. She goes and destroys the well that he dug, and she kills all the Roman settlers that were on the island, and then Man in Black kills her in retaliation. But it's like she did all that so he wouldn't leave, which proves to Jacob that it was that big of a deal,
right?
That he not leave. So he carries that with him for a couple centuries, or a couple millennia, and then you get to the point where it's been 2,000 years, and it's like, yeah, man, I can't let you leave. But again, it's that idea of belief and thought and how that relates to your actions, and we see that all throughout the show about these characters sort of placing meaning on things and not necessarily being correct about that meaning, but it doesn't, whether they're right or wrong, they're still influenced by all that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's true, and they don't necessarily experiment to find out, like. Presumably, well, I don't know if Jacob ever went down in the cave, but I mean, we do have the moment when the cork gets pulled and seemingly the Man in Black like turns human, and at that point, is he such a big risk? I mean, any more than any human? Like maybe he would kill someone, but just as a person, can he single-handedly end the world? I mean, I guess in some far-fetched scenario, but at that point it's like maybe you should have just unplugged the cork and let him turn human and then let him leave. Would it have been so bad?
I mean, they could have written something like Man in Black has, if he can leave the island or something, he's and leave in his sort of non-corporeal form or whatever. Like he's scanned, high-ranking security officials who have the nuclear codes, so like if he gets off the island, he can go set off nukes around the world because he's got that information, and that's how the world can end, or he scans some scientist who knows how to create a deadly virus, and if he gets off the island, he's gonna go create this virus, and that's the thing they didn't do, and it has to be a conscious thing because it's so specific, but they made Jacob, who's supposed to be the good one, like really not that good. And then they made Man in Black, who's supposed to be evil incarnate, really not that bad in terms of his like intent, right? Like he never says that he wants to get off the island so he can destroy the world.
No, not at all.
Now, if he had said that, we'd be all on the same page about, okay, he can't leave because when he gets off the island, he's going to stop at, he's so tormented by being imprisoned on the island, or he's so, upset about how he was raised that his only outlet is just to kill humanity, to get
Right.
rid of it, or his being a smoke monster enlightened him to the point where he looks down on
Because
humanity and
humanity's evil.
he
And,
wants to wipe the world clean. Exactly,
yeah.
humanity's not worth it. They've been coming to this island and all they do is fight, and Jacob's
Yep.
wrong. There's nothing redeemable about them, and the world needs to start over. And I'm gonna be the change agent and like make this happen. And yeah, but that's not what they did. So so now we're left to wrestle with, was he really that evil? And yeah, he killed some people for sure. Um,
One or two.
but maybe that's why he should leave the island, because he keeps killing people. Like
Right.
let him leave. Maybe he'll stop killing people.
That's why he's doing it.
Yeah.
He's very clear on that point.
Yeah, he's not
So
murdering for fun.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it seems like there was a mechanism all along for turning him human again, and they just never bothered to try it.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it was temporary at best, but
You think so? I mean, I guess that's where we can't do the
well,
science,
because I
because
think
I
you
think
have
he's
to.
dead by the time the core gets plugged back in.
But I think you have to plug the cork back in. That's why it's a cork.
Right. So I mean,
That's
but
why
that's
they
the
call it.
question. Like, would he just go back to being the same thing, or was that just a temporary window where they could kill him?
I feel like it's set up, to me it came off like it was set up like a temporary window. Like
Okay.
when the cork is off, you can kill him, when the cork is in, you can't.
Right.
Yeah. And no one really knew where that cork was until like Jacob showed Jack or whatever,
Right.
and all that
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking of Jacob doing it,
Mhm.
just to let him off,
Mhm.
Like, well, you can't
And
go
that
as a
seems
smoke
like
monster, but
yeah, it seems like an intuition thing. Like he just intuited that if the cork is moved, then his brother will be normal or
mm-hmm.
corporeal or human or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he obviously didn't test it.
Right.
So that's the other thing that's kind of interesting about those characters, is how they just intuit certain things about the rules of the world and the island that isn't necessarily true, but seems to be true in some cases.
Right.
Mother did the same thing. Oh, there's life and death and everything in between
Mm-hmm.
down there, and you guys can't hurt each other. I made it that way, and
Right.
all these things.
Yeah. That's oh God.
God can't see this island.
I I feel like there's a room to develop the story a little more without without removing those elements of the obvious like ambiguity and the personal interpretations that lead
Hmm.
to behavior and stuff. Like I don't think just by sort of filling, because I just feel like there's just a basic story logic that's missing, even if no one knows the answers. Like, I just want to hear from Jacob's mouth, like, specifically, what is your justification, and
Mama
why.
told me to do it.
Is that it? Is that all it is?
Hmm.
Like I would love that though, like a confrontation. You're just
Hmm.
doing this because Mama says so.
They had the talk. They had the whole moment on the island, on the lookout or wherever they were on top of the mountain. Man in Black and Jacob talking about their beef, but they didn't say those exact words.
That's what I was looking. Just a little more on like kind of an acknowledgement of where they're coming
Hmm.
from,
Hmm.
And the Man in Black gets a chance to say, "I don't want to kill everyone in the world. I want to go
Hmm.
see the world. That's the point.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hurt anybody." Like he really
I mean,
never.
that's the thing, right? He does actually, I mean, before he was a smoke monster, he did like people. That was the whole reason he wanted to get off the island, because he had good experiences with the people who had come to the island, and he was living with them, right? And he actually so it wasn't like he's a sociopath who wanted to murder every human he came across, even when he was human. He actually liked people.
Well, he didn't like those people, but but I feel like they had to write it that way because they had to. It actually would make more sense and might even be more interesting if he did like those people. But they
I
did
thought
have
he
him
liked
tell
those
Jacob these
people.
people are a bunch of liars and shitty.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
right. But I thought he was living with them.
he was, but he still didn't like him.
But then why was he upset when Mother killed them? Or was
Because
he just upset about the well?
I think he was mainly upset about the well.
Oh.
That
I
that
thought
she
he
took away
was
his
like, oh,
chance to
you
get
killed
off.
my friends.
No, I don't. I mean, maybe there was some of that, but yeah,
Okay,
it seemed
maybe
to
I'm
me.
misremembering.
It seemed to me like the main point was you prevented me from getting off the island. You know, it was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Locke
that's
blowing
true.
up the submarine. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Oh,
screw
I
you
thought
for
he
that.
was. Oh, maybe I'm thinking. Maybe he liked the people before he got to know them or something. He was like eager to go live with them, and then he lived with them and saw they were horrible.
Yeah, I think that was yeah. I think it was closer to that, and part of the point that maybe they were making, though they didn't say this, is that Jacob likes people because he's never around them.
Oh, that's great. Likes him from a distance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. When I don't actually have to deal with them, like I think they're inherently good.
Mm-hmm. But they're broken. But they're good broken.
Good broken though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't talk about that part. But yeah, I think that's also a meshing of the stories that never quite worked. You know, the sort of, the grand is humanity good or evil?
Oh, never
Let's
quite worked at
let's do the
all.
test. Let's
Mm-hmm.
let's like figure out. I'm gonna prove you wrong. Versus I just want to leave. No, you can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of a separate issue.
Yeah.
And I feel like that issue was where most of the actual conflict came from, but they tried to shoehorn in the other thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then in Across the Sea they had to put in that scene to be like, because I feel like the natural assumption would be that he probably likes people more, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, but yeah, they had to have him say, "No, actually, I hate these people." But
Yeah.
he actually literally said something like, "They're a means to an end."
Yeah, yeah, I can remember that now. Yeah, wow. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff coming up that just doesn't work that great. So it'll be interesting to see
Buckle up.
this time around, yeah, how it settles.
Yeah, because actually, to bring it back to this actual episode, one of the elements that we really get our first, direct introduction to in this episode is the sickness,
Mm-hmm.
the famous sickness claiming smoke monster thing
Yeah.
that had only been referred to so far, but we never, and of course there was all that weird like Aaron and Desmond injections, and then there was the other sickness of like the time barrier
Yep.
on the freighter, and it was sort of like, is that the sickness? Like
Mm-hmm.
it almost seems like I don't know, like a children's book or something. Like we just every time a sickness comes up, like
Yeah, there's at least three sicknesses.
could it be this time? Because yeah, the quarantine thing, like basically maybe the outcome of the purge, like
Mm-hmm.
it's
The
again.
poison gas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But finally, this time, like, we really get to see the origin of Rousseau's sickness, which is, I think, I mean, that's clearly the original sickness. She's the one who introduced that concept.
Yeah.
So this is what she was talking about, and we really get to see, like, what it looked like, um, in its time. And, I mean, it doesn't perfectly line up with where it goes later.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a very muddy concept. But at this point, it starts to seem interesting. So this is the start of yet another mystery
They just
that
end up dropping it. Yeah,
kind
like
of just goes nowhere.
I feel like what they wanted with the sickness, this claiming thing. Did you? I haven't read The Stand, and I don't remember the movie that well.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah.
did the bad guy in The Stand have like mind controlling powers at all?
Yeah. Not controlling, but
Yeah,
influencing.
like influence, right? Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
remember, and I feel like that's the kind of thing they may have wanted for the end game of the show to be. You know, these two factions. You know, you have Jacob at the head of the others, and possibly the Losties going against Man in Black and all of the people he's claimed slash
Yeah,
influence. And it's
definitely.
these two huge forces going at, and of course they didn't do that. They killed off all the Losties, and then the Man in
Right.
Black didn't really have that many followers by the end of it.
Right.
And it became a game of individual people fighting each other,
Right.
Jack and Man in Black slash Locke, and
Right.
but I feel like that's the model they were drawing from is the
Yeah,
Stand and that whole idea,
I
and that's
agree.
what's weird is that would have made Man in Black so much more scary and powerful and interesting if the claiming thing was how it sort of comes across in this episode, how we sort of thought about it in terms of like you know a normal human being who's not dead, nothing's wrong with them necessarily, can be influenced by the evil guy and is on his side now. You know, everyone who comes to the island is a potential soldier in his war.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a huge threat. That's a really scary proposition that
Yeah.
they didn't really go down that path because it obviously gets muddled by what are the other possible sicknesses on the island. But then, like, the idea that, oh, if somebody, Robert, that's not really Robert who's shooting at Rousseau. It's actually Man in Black. You know, he's Robert's dead, and
Right.
he's impersonating him,
Right.
and
Right.
that's
Right.
what the sickness is. The sickness is you seeing the image of a dead person, thinking that the living person was claimed, but
Right.
no, that person's just dead, and man, so it just gets muddled super fast.
Right. Right. Uh, yeah. 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 I was thinking about Flag from The Stand, and
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of things in common. He does send dreams,
Mm-hmm.
which is yet another thing. I wish there was a little more. I mean, I guess that would have been wrapped up in my,
Yep.
loophole
Man in
plan.
Black would have been like, I didn't send you any
I didn't
dreams.
send no dreams.
Ain't no
Yeah.
dream sent by me. I just checked my dream outbox and ain't got nothing there.
He can shapeshift. He can, like you said, he does have a certain like ability to do mind's kind of influence. Like he can put his voice in your head, and try to make you do things. It is this kind of thing that I think the show portrayed a little bit, although the Rousseau example doesn't fit this very well. But this idea that if you're already leaning evil, he can kind of push you over the edge, you know? I feel like that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the Saeed thing. Like he was
Mm-hmm.
already on this kind of dark path, and so he was susceptible, you know? Um, and maybe Claire a little bit along those lines as well. Um, just from being like abandoned there, in the
Mm-hmm.
woods, like kind of led her to, think dark thoughts and maybe be more susceptible to this kind of influence, which is kind of how they portrayed it. But then then it seemed to come down to you know if he like asks you to do something and you agree, then you just got claims. Like, what? I didn't get claims. I just said I would do this thing because I thought it was a good idea. I mean, I'm not claimed. I'm
Mm-hmm.
fine. Like it's sometimes it just yeah, it's not really clear what the mechanism is, or if he's even aware that he can do it. I mean, like you said, he
Mm-hmm.
does seem to generally deny most of his powers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised he wasn't like, I can't appear as dead people. It's like,
Oh yeah, right.
like of course, like fuck you. You can't say that one.
Yeah.
Standing in front of us as Locke, there's dead bodies over there. Like, come on.
Yeah, who are you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes?
Yeah. And I also think that season 6 reveals that I don't think Robert was the smoke monster, but I think Montand, if I can use the English pronunciation, was. Because I think in season 6 we find out that he was actually dead down there. in the
Mm-hmm.
hole. And so when we hear his voice calling up, that's actually the Man in Black as him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they go down there, and we don't see what happens, which I think I actually kind of like that, even though
Yep.
I wish I could see what happened down there. But somehow, in that time, they were claimed and somehow convinced to shoot Rousseau,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. And that's what she picked up on, and decided to
Well,
kill
that's the
them
thing.
instead.
When they go down there, though, does couldn't it be that man in? I don't remember the details. We'll see it momentarily here. But
Yeah,
couldn't it be that Man in Black killed Robert when he was down there and then appeared to him to Rousseau?
I guess it could be, but they find specifically the Montauk skeleton down there and not Robert.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes me think, it is technically possible. It
Yeah.
is technically possible. I have to admit. But she kind of kills Robert and I think buries him, maybe? I guess
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll see. So, that would make it seem like it's not him. Because, the
Yeah,
bullets didn't
that's
actually
fair.
hurt him.
But that's Man in Black's thing, though, is appearing to people as their loved ones.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, we'll
It's a
see when
valid
we
point.
watch it.
Like, he could have appeared as Robert after he died, which would have
Mm-hmm.
been weird, but possible.
Yeah, and it seems like once whatever, I mean, it seems like Man in Black was not that concerned about Rousseau, like ever
Right.
after whatever happens in
Yeah,
this
and then
episode.
she starts thinking the others did it. Like, that whole thing starts
Yeah.
getting, like, really, like,
Because she saw some smoke.
muddled.
She saw smoke from a fire, and she's like, "They're coming for my baby" or something.
Oh, right.
Oh man.
Right. You have 3 days. And then you have 3 choices. Run, hide, or die.
Die. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I mean that thing was a fucking mess. But even just the idea that, because I think in this episode she's gonna say something like that thing made you sick. The smoke monster, and that's like more on the right track. But then later on, it's like no,
It's a
the
security
others did it
system.
somehow. She hasn't even met the others at that point. Like it's
Yeah.
weird.
And at some point, the smoke monster is a security system.
Oh yeah, I think Robert's gonna say that, and that's again like they're tying up
Yeah.
loose ends like really sloppily, and so it's like where did Robert get that idea? Did the smoke monster tell him that's what he is and tell him to say that? Did he come up with that himself?
Well,
Like,
we talked about this on the original podcast. It seems like it's maybe because they're at the temple and
Right.
they're trespassing and
Right.
they see, and so
he
it's
just
a
came up with
security
that
system.
idea himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to that thing about the origin of knowledge, and it just comes from somewhere. Whatever the beginning is, it's something, and then people it's like a baton that you just take and run with,
Right.
and add to it or subtract to it yourself over the years, and it just becomes this idea you tell yourself that's not necessarily true.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
On the show. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Some of that is just like it does sort of work, but it also seems a bit like disjointed in
Mhm.
terms of how how all those pieces sort of made sense in her head. But part of that is covered over with like, well, she was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in her brain, it all got jumbled, The other's sickness,
Yeah.
they took the baby, and so they did everything bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the idea or what it was. Because she didn't even meet any others. Like, this whole thing happened before she met any others.
But she heard the whispers, right? She knows they're there.
Oh, God, I forgot the whispers are in there,
Don't
too.
forget the whispers.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, are they going to hear whispers in the episode? I don't actually remember.
I don't remember. I think so.
That's a
but I
good
don't
point,
remember.
though. If she hears the whispers, maybe she thinks, oh, that's the others, and so therefore they are related to the sickness somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot the others are whispering.
That's right.
Yeah.
The others were the carriers of the sickness.
God, she had so much shit she was throwing out there.
Yeah.
The numbers. She's connected to, like, a lot
She's
of
like
stuff.
I don't know what she is. All right, you want to get into the episode?
mystery box. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, everybody, get your players ready if you're going to sync up with us for some This Place is Dead. I feel like you have to say it like that for some reason.
I think you do.
This place is death. Sorry,
Yeah.
not dead. Death.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Place isn't dead yet.
Not dead yet.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Previously on Lost.
That's my lawyer.
That's just my lawyer. Don't mind him. He's on retainer.
He's an other's lawyer.
It was me. Sorry, I overreacted.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
He loves that.
Oh, Charlotte.
Oh no, Charlotte's nose is bleeding.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Just because the donkey wheels off its axis.
It's like he's partially right, but of course not completely.
No. Otherwise, he wouldn't be Locke. He'd be somebody else if he was completely right.
Exactly. Uh-oh.
French woman? That's not Rousseau.
Nope. Not starting with that. We're starting with the dock scene. Or the marina scene? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting this.
Hmm?
Oh, this is the last time she talks to Ji Yeon, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think this is it. Better make it good, son.
Yeah, she's gonna be dead after this.
Oh, jeez. She's already dead. They're all dead from the beginning.
Good point.
Hi, Mommy. Who are you?
I've only seen you 3 times. I've already forgotten your face.
Are you going to bring my daddy home? By that, I mean both get killed in a submarine?
I mean Michael.
Whatever that is. I mean Michael. By dad, I mean Michael. Oh, man.
So soon.
Yeah, afterlife soon. What was Sun's thing in the Flash Sideways?
There was that whole thing with Kimi, like Jin, like Kimi and Kimi wanted Jin to do
Oh, that's
something.
right.
The package.
Okay, it wasn't like Sun being regretful that she didn't raise her daughter.
Oh, fuck no. No. I don't think they even
man.
talked about Ji Yeon. I think maybe she was revealed to be pregnant at the end.
Okay, yeah, I think that's right.
But yeah, this wasn't about that.
Worst babysitter ever here.
Oh, yeah, good point. How? And how do you know that?
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by kill?
Oh, well, that's the trump card.
Right.
But that's dodging the central point here.
Yeah. Yeah. And how does he know Jin's alive?
Well, he knows it from Locke. He's got the ring.
Huh.
Because Jin's going to give Locke the ring and say, tell Sun to never come here to find me.
So she comes there immediately.
Exactly.
So that's Hurley's voice, the actor's voice right there.
It
I read that
is?
on Lostpedia, yeah. But apparently Greg Nation said that that's supposed to just be like an Easter egg, not like anything we're supposed to, I think, look into further as meaningful.
Okay.
No, what year? Kyle MacLachlan shows up. What year is it? I don't like 80s music. It's like I know why they wrote that line, but it's such a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
How do you say radio tower in English?
Have you ever heard of the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah, it's on the beach.
Yeah, I was there with you at the radio tower not that long ago.
I know the way to your radio tower to your camp from the radio tower too, but just not yet. Would it be great if Jin told Russo, "You're not supposed to raise that baby"?
Yeah, oh my god.
Just like implant that in her
Oh
head.
my god, that would be so great. It must be raised by another.
It must be raised by an other.
Yeah, I don't think it makes any sense that Hurley recorded that because it should have been made after they left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure
He
why
was a
they didn't
cook
use the
anyway.
original recording.
Yeah, it's strange.
They're such parents. Arguing baby names.
They always just know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Nadine has anything right now.
Not anymore. Wow, Nadine pulled a Cindy.
Yeah, totally. Oh my god! I forgot!
Uh-huh. What did he say?
He said she's probably chasing a butterfly. Because she's a woman.
I guess.
Like,
Or maybe that's supposed to be deep character insights that she's a botanist or something. I mean, not a botanist, an entomologist or whatever insect doctor is, insect
it
scientist.
could be, but he said it was because she's a woman.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
Oh no! Le monstre de fumée!
Oh no. That sounds less scary somehow.
Does it?
That sounds like a fumy monster.
That's what it is!
I know, but it
fuming
sounds
monster.
worse. They're not used to like leaving people behind, you know.
Clearly.
I mean, you know, they're newbies.
Yeah, they haven't been through this.
Like someone goes
80
missing
times.
when you're in the jungle, like leave,
Just keep walking.
or you'll be next.
Oh, they're about to have that pilot moment, aren't they?
Yeah. So if Nadine was chasing a butterfly, was that butterfly Man in Black?
It really could have been. That's actually a valid theory. No, you're
Yeah,
not gonna go that way. Because he's blowing trees up.
Yeah.
Yep, there she goes.
There she is.
I think she's morte.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's a bad shot.
Yeah, don't
That's a
shoot it that
bad
way.
shot.
Please don't shoot me like that. Yeah, he's about to get... Oh, he's about to get locked, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna, like, ankle him into the hole.
Yeah, it seems like they are trying to specifically replay, you know, the previous.
Oh, yeah,
Smokey
with the
scenes.
crank. He's, like, turning the smoke monster crank.
Yeah. Because they kind of had Nadine in the trees, like the
Yeah.
pilot, you know, was in the tree. And
Definitely.
And then this whole, yeah, drag it to the hole.
Yeah. Here's what could happen to Locke.
I guess.
If he pulled a little harder. If they didn't have, they had the dynamite, right? The dynamite scared him away.
Yeah.
But they ain't got no dynamite, so he's just gonna pull harder. I don't care if I have to pull his arm off. Oh no!
Yeah, there it is.
No!
Oh, jeez.
Ugh.
That was alarming. Alarming. How do you say arm in French?
Bras.
Hmm.
So this is
Yeah,
fake.
I feel like that
Montauk.
could still be him.
Well,
like,
it's possible it was his dying words.
Yeah. Now, it's also very possible Man in Black just killed him instantly when he was down there, and now it's Man in Black talking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to prove it one way or the other.
And that's probably more likely, because why would Man in Black... Because, it's better for Man in Black to control the situation completely,
Right.
and not to be like, I'll let him live to lure his people down, but he
Right.
might not say what I want him to say,
Right.
He might tell them not to come down there, which isn't what Man in Black wants. So, yeah, I mean, I would side on it being Man in Black.
I think that was suggesting that, like, Jin convinced her not to go down there.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe, like, he inadvertently saved her from being claimed.
I think that's true. I think this is the Losties, this is what they do. They go back and they make everything better.
And she never got to thank Jin.
Oh, wow, that's right. He disappears. She never talks about this later.
No. There was this strange Korean man who disappeared in front of me. That never came up for some reason. But yeah, back at the temple.
So, wait. I'm confused. Was the radio message that they were listening to in English?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's wrong, right?
No. The original one was in English. Like, Rousseau's going to change it to one in French.
Oh, she changes it.
Yeah, she changes it.
Oh,
It's
so
not
she
the
does link it
numbers
to the
anymore.
radio tower. That's right. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, it was a reveal
Got it.
that it used to say that in the first Numbers episode. Because, yeah, her message was, it killed us all, come save us, or whatever.
But the message that was counting down and doing the iterations, that was the numbers, right?
No, it wasn't the numbers. It was
That
just
was her
iterations.
message.
Yeah,
It was iterations of her message.
exactly.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh, they're coming for your baby.
That is what that means.
That's the only thing it means.
But he's going to go towards it for some reason.
Yeah, he doesn't have a baby. Well, he does have a baby.
Yeah, but he's not going to worry about that
Nah.
for now or ever.
So I guess he's in the 70s now, or what are we? Where are we? Oh no, he's
we're
not
gonna
done.
find out.
Sorry, he's just a little further in the future, so they could do this. Right?
Oh, right, because we haven't seen the next part. Oh, wow, he gets, cut to the next beat in this.
It's
story.
weird. It's weird that he flashed such a short amount of time.
It's like, I don't know, like a few days later, maybe?
Yeah, at most.
Oh, the famous music box.
Whose music box was that?
I think it was Rousseau's.
Oh, her famous music box.
Yeah. Don't they find
Right.
it?
Yeah, doesn't
In
like
season
Saeed
one?
fix it or something?
Yeah, Saeed fixes it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was the
alright.
thing. Violin? I don't remember that.
She burns that for wood at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's... I mean, it seems like there's enough wood, but...
So she drugged these bodies out there, really? First of all, where'd they come from? Weren't they they were in the temple?
Oh, I'm assuming they climbed back out and then she shot them. They got bullet wounds.
Okay, wow. Yeah, you're right.
And
So Man in Black did some sort of claiming and sent them after her.
Yeah. So I think we're about to see the final stage of that, of her killing everyone. She didn't kill Nadine, though.
No.
Just gonna throw that in. Malade.
Oh, is that Malady? Wow.
Exactly.
French.
Yep.
Hmm.
Uh-oh.
Le
Oops.
firing pin.
Oh, she remembers. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago. You're a
Yeah.
carrier. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Carrier.
Now she's lost it.
Yeah, I guess if that was Man in Black as Robert, then he could have just turned himself into a firing pin
Yep.
and used the gun.
Yeah, that would have been great.
I always carry my own.
He could probably manifest a gun. He seemingly
Probably.
manifested a knife. Uh-oh. Who is this?
Sounds like
What
Lafleur.
mysterious southern man is this?
A southern rapscallion. What?
What?
No, you guys used to hate each other.
It's true.
Water coming through. Other people I'm not as excited to see, but
Right, he doesn't know the score.
yeah, and I
guess.
guess did he not know that Sawyer was on the helicopter? I guess he didn't necessarily know Sawyer was on the helicopter, right?
I guess not. Well, I don't know.
Because he didn't get there in time. He was down
That's
with a
true.
bomb the whole time. He's signing.
He's like pointing at his watch.
I want him to say, "I just saw Danielle Rousseau so bad."
Seriously.
Please, there's nothing wrong with him saying it right now. It doesn't hurt anything. She's not from Encino.
God, enough with the orchid.
I feel like he would have got that. Hmm.
Because they have to come back. Yeah, there we go.
What do you mean by should?
Also to save us. Also
Yeah.
to protect the island from Widmore.
Yeah, there's some other reasons. I got a list. Oops. No one means me.
Well, how do you know that I blew up the boat?
Yeah.
A lot of people know things. Oh, okay.
Come on, Kate, keep up. Get in my car.
I'm leaving too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, later on they're gonna cut out the Jack part of that comment, and they're gonna make it all about Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Because like now it makes sense, but later not.
Bang.
That would be the badass son response.
Yeah.
But she's done with that.
Yeah.
Sadly. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's like the end of Badass Son right there. Like she
Yep.
spent 3 years plotting she was gonna kill Ben, and she got the moment to do it, and she was just like, oh, I guess not.
Yep.
How do you know for sure?
Yeah, you don't know that. It's not necessarily even true.
Yeah.
Like, what if two people
Can't
turn the
one
wheel?
can't one man go and then another man go? I mean, that's what
Yeah,
Locke's about to do.
totally.
That's a Star Trek joke. There we go. Someone's
Yeah,
speaking normally.
yeah. That is
Although
not.
later he'll be like, they're the
That's
variables.
true. It's not gonna
He's gonna
last.
put them into science.
But he's on the right track for now.
Yeah.
Oh
Charlotte
no.
doesn't have. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh
They get too many
no.
back to back.
My nose.
My sinuses.
Yeah, why is it accelerating?
Because they're ramping up the story.
Shh. Don't say that. Oh no, Charlotte. She survived just long enough to translate one time.
Right? To reveal that she was lying and withholding information, and now
Yep.
she can die a traitor. Uh-oh.
And now Jen has to learn English.
What did she say? She said we're next. See, this is interesting. I thought Jin was going to be the one to be like, oh, there it is. Yeah, I thought Jin was
Yeah.
going to be the one to realize that Sun shouldn't come back, but he was seemingly okay with it for a little bit here.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
she's the one who accepted that idea.
But
to
it's
him.
only because of this specific scenario. I mean, it can be dangerous for other reasons, but like, the context there is a little off. Like, this doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, it's still a valid data point. I mean, Jin knows the place is dangerous. He doesn't want her to come
That is
back,
true.
but this is the I think.
and of course, she
the
does come back and die there, so
So
I guess-
she was right.
I guess that validates the point.
She just said this place will be your death, and she would have been spot on. But you didn't care about him, Jack. Yeah, you should have. This was like 3 years later. Oh, right.
Because he hired a lawyer. Ben's like, not having this.
This is great. He pulled the car over.
You never stop
I
thanking me.
remember this. Oh, man.
This is almost Trumpian.
What'd you say?
It's almost Trumpian.
It's a very Trumpian.
Why aren't you thanking me?
Why aren't you praising me more?
You'd never stop thanking me. Like, I don't know if I really believe
Like,
that, but
how
he
about
does seem like he
could have
believes
we
it.
could have thanked you if you would have let us off the island years ago.
Seriously. Yeah, the mind games, the constant deceptions. Like,
Yeah. Aren't you Henry Gale?
yeah, fucking A. Like, I don't know. You don't get to be righteous.
Yeah. Okay, that can't be true. She's
Yeah.
into death bragging mode. You know, that's that stage of death where you just start bragging, overly bragging.
Oh no, is this I'm not supposed to have chocolate before dinner? Oh, not yet. I'm just waiting.
But mommy, I've already eaten dinner. Why do they all have to go? Let Locke go. Jeez.
Seriously.
What did she say?
I love Geronimo Jackson.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. One of the, I
Mhm.
think, not so well done outside tie-ins.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Dharma Lady.
That's a good question. Locke
That's
never
a good
thought of.
question. But it's not, oh, what? Now she knows? How do you know that? Where does that come from?
I feel like that's little girl Charlotte answering somehow from her time on the island. I
But
don't know why
she
she would
knew
just say
that,
no, but
Okay. Like, the orchid was a project. Like, did they let the 6-year-olds in on it? Like, what
everyone
the fuck?
was in on it. Listen, Dharma, if you're Dharma, you're Dharma, okay?
Why are you building an orchid by the well?
Mommy, I thought the orchid was a real flower.
Yeah, I don't get why they all have to go. His whole point was he has to go alone, so
Yeah.
it's like,
And then we got a flash real quick.
of course. Cue it, cue
Thanks,
it. There it is.
Juliet.
I know.
Oh, man.
Never say that.
Never say that.
At
Yeah,
least
it's like
we know
saying
it's the right area.
She might as well have said it could be worse.
Find the well, just like Charlotte said.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like,
But it still doesn't mean that the donkey wheel is going to be there just because the well is there.
That is
now,
true.
it will be there because it's
It will.
older than these flashes.
A lot
will
older.
take them.
yeah.
But this didn't necessarily have to be true.
That is, yeah, that's true. I do wonder what well this is and when it was created.
Is this the well Saeed's going to be in later? Or is that a different well?
It could be.
I mean, is it Saeed or Desmond?
Desmond.
Desmond,
He
yeah.
pushes Desmond down the well. Yeah, good question, Miles.
What did he say?
He said, how does Charlotte know this was here?
Oh, there we go. Maybe she'll tell us in this scene.
Yeah, okay. I'm ready.
There we go. Here's
Is that the
Isla.
answer?
Yeah.
She just remembered from when she was 6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know. I have a whole journal that's about nothing but the Dharma Initiative.
If his dad is Widmore, if her dad's Widmore.
That's called gaslighting.
But why wouldn't your mom have your bag?
Wow, on her deathbed, we finally get this story.
Mm-hmm. Why? Are you
Oh, right. I forgot about this.
Oh no.
This crazy man.
Oh no.
He was
It was
mumbling.
you, Daniel. Oh my god. Oh man.
And he was twitching. Oh, what?
Wow. The end.
Lost?
What?
That's not, though.
A little more. A little more.
That is kind of a crazy reveal.
Yeah.
Although we did see the scene with him in the Dharma Initiative in the beginning of the season, so
Yeah. So there we go.
I
They're
guess
bringing
it's
us
sort
back
of
around for that.
yeah.
I love that smile. Like, oh God, you're so horrible. I'm glad I'm leaving.
Here it is. Here it is.
All right.
You don't know.
I just know. Come on.
Okay, Smoke Monster told me.
Mm-hmm.
My baby? Does that mean son?
I think he's including Ji Young because he
Okay.
assumes Sun is raising his child.
Okay, yeah, he assumes incorrectly, of course, but
Mhm.
yeah, that's
Of course.
fine. Fair enough.
We'll tell her the same thing. Don't go.
This is the yeah. I love it. This will prove it.
And it's like, why would you desecrate my husband's grave by taking his wedding ring?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so I can prove to you that he's dead, son. Why would you think to do that?
Yeah, it's weird. Like he doesn't know what her story is.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah. All right.
Well.
Time to go down the well of mystery. This is his final moments on the island.
Yeah. He'll never be alive on the island again.
Yeah.
He has no idea that's true.
Yeah. No, not at all.
I feel like when rope climbing, it's all well and good till you get on the rope and you're like, God damn, this is harder than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, it is not easy. It's better to go down than up, but
Yeah.
still.
I feel like they could have brought up the rope and then lowered him down, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is interesting.
Bad timing.
Oh, this was cool too to see the light actually come
From below.
Yeah.
Yeah. That does seem to imply they're going to the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, if Locke's legs didn't get hurt somehow, it wouldn't be a mission.
Right. Oh, what was he holding on to?
This is really confusing to me.
What? He wasn't holding on to anything before the light, I thought. Or did he grab it when the light started?
I guess he grabbed it when the light started.
Yeah.
Let it go.
He's in the dirt now.
He's dirty dirt Locke.
He's
So
stuck
I have
in
no
the
idea
dirt.
what time this is, where like the well doesn't exist.
It's got to be before the well was made. That's
Which
a
is crazy.
self-evident
That makes it
thing.
like across the sea, potentially.
I don't think it's that old.
Well, that's when the well started.
No, but
I guess
remember,
that more could have been made
mother
later.
filled it in,
Yeah, that's true.
so it was rebuilt at some point. So Dan hasn't gone back to when Charlie was a kid yet, so that wouldn't be in his
Right.
journal. Okay.
Right. Not yet.
Well, yeah, you're right. Not yet. Oh, isn't that? So it should be in his journal then, or I guess it depends
What?
on whenever he updates.
I think
his journal.
I think it will eventually be in his journal.
But
but
he
it
hasn't
isn't
read that yet.
No, it's not there yet because he hasn't written it yet.
Oh, but I thought he gets the.
It'll be in
journal
the
from
one that
future.
Miss Hawking has. I don't think so. I think he just has the journal, And it's Miss Hawking who gets the journal in the past, and that's how she knows stuff
Oh,
in the
she
future.
gets the journal.
Yeah, she gets the journal.
Oh, I was thinking his journal was from the past and had all the. I thought that's how
I
he
don't
knew
think
about
so.
all this stuff on the island because he
No, I
had the
think
journal.
he just did like research or something.
Oh, I thought he was getting stuff because of the journal. Huh. Wow. Okay. Jesus, Locke.
Ow! Is that a bone?
That's a bone.
Damn,
That's a tibula
that's harsh.
or fibula.
Fibula? Yeah,
I don't remember.
yeah. I'm gonna say fibula, but yeah, I
You
have
gonna
no idea.
fibula?
That
I'm
would be
gonna
my
tibula.
guess. Really? Okay. I just feel like I don't know.
Tibula, maybe that's the arm bone. Or
Yeah,
is that
that's what
even
I
a
was
word?
thinking. Uh-oh. Who the fuck is down here?
Uh-oh.
Care for a lamp?
Let me shine some light on this.
Yeah, this is casual
Oh,
Christian.
the fibula and tibia are both leg bones. Okay.
Oh, tibia. Okay.
Tibia.
Not tibula.
Mm-mm.
See, he remembers the cabin. This is a problem. I meant
Huh.
that literally.
Huh.
Though I didn't tell you how to do it. You didn't tell me how to do it.
But
Oh, here it is.
does that mean Man in Black? Okay, but no. Okay, huh? Where the damn?
Damn. It's a great line reading.
Yeah, I had a little vibrato on that one.
It was actually good for his plan, though, so...
But yeah, see, I feel like he doesn't know that, and I feel like he only wants John to go because John. He wants everybody. That's weird. He wants everybody back, and that's what Ben is doing.
He tells him about Hawking, too, which I find a little bit surprising.
Hmm.
I gotta come back to that.
Yeah. She's Dan's mother. No, he doesn't. No, he can't.
That's what he's thinking.
Like a list of lies.
Oh, did he?
Here we go. Well, why do I have to sacrifice something?
Of course you are. I made you ready.
Just like I make a frozen pizza. It's real easy. So Man in Black couldn't take a stick and push the donkey wheel?
Well, I've been wondering about that, yeah. I think he can help Locke if he wants to. I remember making a lot out of that line, but I don't see
Yeah.
why he couldn't help him up.
It seems like he's supposed to not be corporeal or something.
Right. But
Like,
I think he is.
But he is.
It does come off that way. Yeah,
It's
that's
so 1980s. It's like practical effects.
Yep.
I asked this before, I think, but is that supposed to be the wheel from the Black Rock? This, or is that?
No,
is it too
it can't be the
big
Black
for-
Rock because it was way earlier.
Oh, that's right. That's way earlier. I always think like that's the wheel, but that seems like too
It could have been
big
the wheel
for
from the ship that they crashed on, Jacob and Man in Black.
Yeah, I think it's too big for a ship's wheel. I don't think they're that big.
Oh, it is pretty big, yeah.
No, Lockie said push, not pull.
He did say push. But I guess pull works too. And also, one more thing.
Yeah.
Who's your son?
Oh man. Yeah, that's such an interesting thing. Why wouldn't he just say tell my son Jack hello.
Yeah.
And the audience knows who his son is. I don't know why that's such a cryptic thing.
It's weird. It reminds me of the Michael thing. Like, you can go now. Who are you?
Yeah.
The end.
Cantor Rainer means something.
Oh, yeah, it spells... What does it spell?
I forgot.
Is it...
Quick, do an anagram.
Is it time travel? No, that can't work.
that's Hofstrahler.
No, it's flash forward.
Yeah, Middleos is lost time.
Yeah, Middleos lost time. Is it wow. I forget.
I think it's we have to go back to the island.
Yeah, so there's the ring.
Why didn't he give it to her earlier? He made it seem like Hawking had the ring.
He did. He knows. Not really. Not anymore.
I missed it. Did Ben say how he got the ring?
He said Locke gave it to him.
Oh, Locke gave it to him.
Yeah. Which is true.
I feel like he could have said Jen gave it to him.
How? Oh, wait, how?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
She doesn't know how. We would know it wouldn't work.
That's true. Yeah, then he admits that he met with Locke. Oh, here we go.
Mm-hmm. Fresh off the boat.
Random Desmond cameo. I just sailed around the world, brother. I'm fucking tired.
Oh, man.
What? That's what the music said.
That's what the music literally said. Ben knows that, right?
Does he?
I guess
that's a good question. I feel like
he
should know.
But why would he?
Maybe he does know. He probably does.
And it's weird.
It's like others' history.
This is like Dan is the kid that got Widmore kicked off the island, right?
That's true.
Because Ben was like, "Oh, you're off having dallying."
No, actually, Dan was an others baby. It was Penny who got him kicked off the island.
Oh, it was Penny. You're right.
Yeah. She's a proper other. She's allowed to have babies.
Oh man, you were in my something.
Oh well.
It'll be fine.
It's no big deal.
It's like tea when there's not enough crumpets. It's fine.
I know I said God help us all, but whatever.
Oh man. Let's get started.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Wow. Let's get started. Yeah, that's the end of the first part of the season for sure.
Definitely.
Wow, what a interesting episode.
But I think a little bit of a flat ending because it doesn't really introduce anything new. I mean, maybe we didn't realize he was Faraday's mother, but or she was Faraday's mother, but
I think if we hadn't seen them introduce her at the church earlier, it would have been a reveal that who we were coming to see, and then that would have been a stronger ending.
Exactly. Yeah. That could have been a way bigger shock, but I see why they wanted to introduce it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so post-mortem here.
Literally.
Because the mortem happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I wanted to look up, let's see. What is this episode called? This Place is Death? Because I wanted to talk about that Christian scene. Like, we've talked about some of these aspects before, but since we're here, I just wanted to, like, take out the fine-tooth comb and
comb something.
And comb the shit out of that scene. Because there's also a Hawking... Okay, right. So, okay. So the first thing we got to get out of the way is the time travel problem.
What problem?
So here's the problem as I see it. He says at the beginning, what was it? When you came to see me at the cabin, you asked me how to save the island, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's clear from that this is, well, it's obviously the Man in Black, and he remembers the event of meeting with Locke at the cabin, with Claire and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and when he said to move the island. So that suggests that, in a sense, this smoke monster should be, um, a future smoke monster, one who remembers stuff from after the cabin meeting.
Oh man.
However,
Oh
comma,
no, I saw that coming.
this takes place in the past. He's also appearing as Christian, which is another thing. I mean, we just talked about how the well isn't there, which really sets the flashback as being a pretty long
But
time
they wait,
ago.
but they flashed again, didn't they?
Well, they flashed again to the well not being there, but they didn't flash again after that until he turns the wheel. From the time, like, he's climbing down the rope when the well's still there, the flash happens, he falls. There's not another flash
I thought there
until
was another
he turns
flash.
the wheel. There's another flash when he turns the wheel, but not until he turns the
Are
wheel.
you sure?
Pretty sure.
I thought there was another quick flash after the flash when they lost Locke. I hope there is, because that would mean they go back to the future where a Man in Black should know what he knows.
Okay, so yeah, potentially that's true. Potentially it's a problem. Like past memories, you got to put in. I remember there was some extra work I was doing there of like, and also the question of how he knows who Christian is if it's past Smoke Monster. Say hello to my son, all that, and also Hawking, and also what was the other thing? Richard said I had to die. That's an interesting moment because that's from the future,
Mm-hmm.
right? This Christian, I think. I mean, I guess it's an open question exactly what time they're in, but unless this is 2007, this Christian does not know that he told Richard to say that
Yeah.
yet. So he's actually getting a message from himself from the future.
Well, now I'm thinking, did during the time travel or some other loophole way, did Man in Black meet his past self and tell
Exactly.
he did what he did to Richard, what he told him what to say to Locke, and he says you're gonna have to look like this guy, and then like the past Smoke Monster had to read the mind of the future Smoke Monster to
Mm-hmm.
know what Christian looked like. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to live in a world where that's what
That's
happens.
for my loophole episode. But then you can see how there's some like really weird time travel-y problems with this
Mhm.
scene, like on a number of levels.
Yeah.
And it really makes the loophole plan like straight, like it works conceptually. So one theory that I've heard is that the smoke monster is time traveling with them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that though is that
The Russo Montan thing.
well, that would be one. That's what I didn't even think of that. But the other problem with that is there's a strong indication from the exposition that the Man in Black stayed in the future, or stayed in the present when the flashing started because he's reported as being with Claire.
That's right.
And she stays. She clearly stays on the island that whole 3 years
Mhm.
in the present / future, and she says my father was there, and and then at a certain point he starts looking like Locke, but she realizes it's not either one of them at a certain point, and so there's this indication that he was around and therefore not time traveling. So anyway, the time traveling smoke monster thing is also a bit of a problem unless you want to take the extra step, and this is really like going off the deep end of like the smoke monster can like replicate time travel or something. You know what I mean? Like because of its special connection to the island. Blah blah blah. Let's wave our hands a lot and just say that the effect that time travel has on him is different, and like he can time travel and not at the same time. I mean, which is crazy. There is an indication later in this season, I think, that he is in two places at once.
Mm-hmm.
So and that goes back to the the tripartite smoke monster theory.
The what? The three parts?
Yeah, like Cerberus, like
Oh,
I think when he runs into the sonic fence at a certain point, you see it kind of break into three pieces, and like people extrapolated from that way too much.
yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a point where, and we'll have to watch because we're about to get to that stuff really specifically, where he's on the Hydra Island as Locke, but also in the barracks as Christian simultaneously.
Well, that's where the sense that he can project himself, where he's not really
Yeah.
there. So like when Christian's on the freighter and tells Michael you can go,
Right. Or the
when
off
Christ-
island stuff.
Yeah, when Christian's appears to Jack, but the
Yeah.
smoke alarm goes off. Like
Yeah,
he's not physically there, but he can project himself, which goes back to Walt's whole
Right.
remote viewing
He's
thing.
special. Mother says he's special.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it's a time travel projection. I mean, I guess that would be the.
That's why he couldn't help him up, because he's
Yeah.
not really there.
He's not really there. Ooh, look
Yeah.
at that! You answered. It's a twofer. I like it.
And I was also, it answers the question about that lantern, because I'm like, how did he get a lantern? Why did he manifest this lantern?
Yeah.
Like, did he bring it? It couldn't have just been down there,
Yeah,
right?
no, it
Like,
shouldn't have been down there.
so maybe that's so it's weird that he manifested a lantern, but he's projecting himself.
Lantern projection.
Yeah, well, yeah. So yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe
That actually works for me.
But wait, but is it? But he's projecting himself from the future into the past.
Well,
Like,
it
that's
has
an
to be
extra
after
hard.
the cabin meeting.
That's tough though.
And he has to
That's-
know about Christian. I mean, he has to know about.
But
a
that's what
number
I'm
of things
saying.
from
The
future.
projection. So the call is coming from the future, basically.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's cray.
It's very cray, but but I think it's actually consistent, and it to me it's less crazy than what I was trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
If he can just project, it's weaker than saying he can be in like 2 or 3 or however many places at once.
But if he can project himself throughout time, I
that
guess you'd
is
have
crazy.
to limit it. You'd have to limit it to this era when the island is time traveling.
Yeah, and
You
maybe
couldn't
he
give
can,
him that power the whole time he's on the island.
and maybe he can only do it like around the places that are connected to the source of the
Sure.
island's power or something, just to like
Mhm.
not make it too powerful. Since they
Yeah.
are like right there by the donkey wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right that would be like an insane power to have, but it
Or-
wouldn't be the first time they gave him a crazy power.
Or he knows how to use the light and the water, right? He knows how to
Right.
manipulate that. So maybe in the future, he's able to use the pockets of energy to time travel in this particular instance.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes back to this period.
He
I
cuts
don't know,
out
somehow,
on Claire for like a little bit, does this, and comes back.
exactly. Yeah. Somehow he knows when Locke is going to be, and so he's able to like project himself.
Right.
Or not project himself, but actually go back somehow. Maybe goes to the light cave, or he jumps in a pond or puddle of light or something, and then he ends up here at the donkey wheel.
Right.
So that's kind of two vaguely plausible solutions.
Yeah.
But I don't remember that being such a big deal, and because it's a huge problem.
I mean, I feel like narratively it feels fine because we're in the future of the characters, and it's just picking up where they left off last time.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you think through I think the other reason why they get away with it is because we don't know it's the smoke monster yet.
Oh, wow. Good point. I forgot that.
Like, at this point, the ostensible thing he's saying is he's speaking for Jacob. You know?
So we think he's doing the right thing.
Exactly.
And he's on the good side.
He's
I
trying to
forgot
get
about
him
that.
to come back,
Yeah.
It all seems like, it seems like it could be something that Jacob would want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the game. So yeah, I think that's another reason why at the time, and it took a while, I think, for it to really sink in that this was a huge problem.
I think the other solution could be that they didn't flash back before the well was built. They flashed forward to after the well was destroyed somehow, or
Okay.
like removed.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's not there anymore.
Right.
But they're in the future.
Though the orchid's not there, so it would have to still be. It would have
They
to
took the
still
they
be
took the orchid
past.
down.
That's like way future then.
Yeah, it's like a way future.
Crazy future, and then he should be dead.
Yeah, yeah. No, that one is not as good, but
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Okay, so yeah, there's some solutions for you. Chew on it. But I also wanted to bring up the Hawking thing. Like I think it's kind of interesting that he specifically sends Locke to Eloise Hawking.
mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
like so. How, like I have so many questions about that.
Yeah.
How does he know about that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who told him about Eloise Hawking?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like where the fuck did that come from? And it called into question for me, like Eloise Hawking's complicity in the loophole plan. You know, was she? Is there any possibility that she is influenced by the smoke monster, possibly unknowingly?
Oh wow.
You know, because and the reason why
Eloise Hawking is a mole. Is
yeah,
that what you're saying?
that's kind of what I'm saying. I mean,
we thought Kate was the mole.
It's possible that she's in on it, but like, okay, so just to add to, you know, it's, I mean, we're connecting thin threads here, but that's our job here.
That's what we do.
The other thing that really sticks out to me is how insistent she is on getting Christian shoes and Locke's body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being on the thing. Like, why the fuck does that? Where did she get that idea from? And the fact that he's sending her, she's insistent on this thing, and this plays into his loophole plan so well. When she could have just said, "Oh, he's dead. Whatever. You don't need to take."
So, the ipso facto solution to this would be that Men in Black appeared to Eloise Hawking in some form that she would be receptive to, and told her to do this stuff.
Yes. That's what I'm wondering, because I feel like it's just weird that there does seem to be he's working for her in a way, like saying Locke, send people there. Ben gets the name Hawking from Locke, and therefore indirectly from the smoke monster. So that's how he knows to go find her, and so it really does play into
Wait. Ben got Hawking's name from Locke?
Yeah.
When was that?
That's right before he kills Locke. I
forgot. We're after that point. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're in the off island story.
Yeah, it's gonna be a flashback, but in the future.
I see. So because I always thought at this point Ben is going to Hawking because he knows Hawking has access to the lamppost island tracker, but he doesn't necessarily know that.
I think
he
not.
Gets the name from, because that's a Dharma thing, not an others thing.
Exactly.
And he gets that from Locke. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Who gets it from the Man in Black, and so then that's sort of the Man in Black pushing everyone towards Eloise Hawking, and then here's Eloise Hawking saying, you have to bring Locke's body, and you have to put Christian's shoes on it, and there's just no way it's gonna work any other, you can't do it any other way.
What's with the shoes?
Yeah, it's bizarre. Like, I mean, it's not clear why the shoes actually even matter, but the fact that she insists that Locke's body has to go, to me, is a red flag, because I'm not convinced that it does. And, and her blasé attitude about, oh, we couldn't get everyone. Oh, well, but then she insists on Locke's body and this really specific weird ritual. And the fact that it plays into his plans, it's just, I don't know. We don't get a follow-up there, so I can't prove that there actually is something there, but I feel like it's sort of like, if it's not that, then what's the explanation?
I feel like it has to be that, because it makes sense that he's orchestrating this entire end game, and I almost feel like, in a way, because it's so bungled by the end, and because his last few days are really lackluster as Locke, on the island, and some of the stuff he's doing is just kind of bad and boring.
He's way better before all
Yeah,
that
I feel like
happens.
he doesn't get enough credit for how extensive this plan is and how he's manipulating. I mean, Ben would give him a standing ovation for this level of
Oh,
manipulation. Like,
definitely.
Ben's like, I thought I was good. This is a master's class. I mean, this is decades long manipulation. Like,
Yeah,
puts me to shame.
yeah.
So yeah, I feel like yeah, I would totally want to add what Ms. Hawking is doing to his plan here, and it totally is aligned. You're totally right about that, and yeah, I feel like I want to give Men in Black more credit for all the different parts of this plan, but it just kind of ends up being lackluster. So.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. After the loophole is complete and Jacob's dead, it just kind of
Hmm.
spins into nothingness. Like,
Well, and also because some of them go to the 70s, which is just like, was that
yeah,
supposed to happen? And then it becomes about, the incident and Jughead and
it's
like
not clear
stopping
if that was
that.
supposed to
And
happen. That feels like a detour to
yeah.
me. Like, did he expect that to happen? I don't know.
Well,
Maybe that was an accident. I'm really not
and that,
sure.
and that's the thing I always wanted the show to be about, which it never quite was. Like we
Why they
like we
went to the
saw.
70s.
Well, why are the Alossis on the island to begin with? And the
Oh,
idea that we talked about in the original
because
podcast,
Jacob
like
chose them.
because Jacob chose them because they were broken. Who
That's the
broke them,
answer they
Jacob? Who
gave.
broke them?
They broke themselves,
Right.
sort of, and other people
Um,
sometimes.
yeah, I feel like, when we saw Jin sort of save Rousseau from going down there, so it's this idea that, okay, great, like the reason Jin is here is he saves her, in this one
Mm-hmm.
moment. And I always wanted the Losties to be like that for the incident. Like part of the reason they're here and part of the reason they're time traveling is because they got put back in this the history of the 70s, like they were able to intervene and stop this catastrophe from happening, which saved the world. Like I always wanted the stakes to be real,
Right. Oh,
and
me too.
the consequences to be real and not like probably real,
Mm-hmm.
maybe real, believe it's real if you want to real.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I kind of wanted, like it to actually matter that they were here and they made these choices and stuff. And I mean, obviously it matters because there's cause and effect and things that happen, but like, not in it didn't seem like in a cosmic sense that it really mattered, that any of this stuff happened. Did I just end the podcast?
Oh man. Mic drop. We're done.
It's like, oh, you're right. None of this matters. End of podcast. Sorry to
Namaste
waste your time.
forever.
Sorry to waste your time, everyone. Please forget you ever listened. We can't give you your time back, your thousands of hours back, but
The 12-year mistake.
that's the Lost Lowdown, aka the 12-year mistake, the 12-year oopsie,
Oopsie.
the 12-year. Yeah, they got us. Yep,
I guess we
fooled
overreacted.
us. Yeah, fool us one season. Shame on us. Fool us 12 years. Shame on us.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. The show means everything. It's the only thing that matters in life. Okay.
Okay, good, good.
We're back on track.
Have a
here.
reason to live again.
Yeah,
Thank
let's
you.
talk about why Eloise is wrong about what she's saying. Quick, to the transcript.
Go, go.
Oh man. Oh man. But yeah, overall pretty good episode, there's a lot
Yeah.
going on. A lot of cool crazy stuff. The Rousseau stuff was great. I mean, it's not exactly what I wanted, but it still is very cool to circle back from a season 1 story about her past and actually get to relive it in real time and see how it all played out. Like that's no show really does that kind of thing, and so that's really cool. But it does, and we were frustrated by this in the past too, but it is very frustrating when characters just say things and they just believe it's true. It was nice to get a couple people to call them out on that. Jin and I
Yeah.
think Sawyer at some points, like, why do you know that? Why do you think that?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the why is often a question not asked on this show.
Very true.
Why? Why do you think that? And Locke's just like, I just know it. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's how I know you're wrong, because evidence matters, and intuition can lead you to, I don't know, your death,
Yeah, literally, and it will.
and it
So
will.
yeah, it's not. It's weird. It's weird. I mean, maybe that's part of the point, but I think yeah, there is an extent to which it's a bit frustrating to watch.
Hmm.
Of like, you know, maybe you could fill us in on, I don't know, a bit more on what the thought process is here.
Yeah, because some random guy is telling Locke what to do. Like, he doesn't even. It'd be one thing if he knew that was Jack's dad, right? There'd be some level of trust or, like, well, connection. I mean, not that it's really his dad, but it's Man in Black. But I mean, if
Right.
he knew that image was Jack's dad, he could at least go, wow, that makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. But right, he just thinks that's like a random guy who speaks for Jacob, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It's just some kind of messenger
Mm-hmm.
who shows up. And really, say hello to my son was the first indication that he gave that he might have an identity that is connected with,
Yeah.
the people that he knows. And I guess Locke figures out who it is just by process of elimination.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is the kind of thing of like, okay, I'm leaving to round up the Losties. You said say hello to my son. It's one of the guys who
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
So was that Hurley, Saeed, and
Yeah.
Jack,
Yeah.
or Aaron? But it's not Saeed,
Right. Right.
or Hurley. So
Yeah.
it does kind of just leave Jack.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's basically what Locke says. Um,
Hmm.
but I do wonder. I mean, I guess the point of saying that is to try to draw Jack back, and it does seem like to a certain extent that works. They play that up a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm really disappointed with the follow through. You know, I still wish there had been more than just was that you on the beach? Yeah, that was me. All right. Well, anyway,
What were you doing to me? What was the point?
let's
Yeah.
move on. Let's
Hmm.
talk about the now thing because we're not gonna. I mean, I think that's always a frustration on TV shows, and part of it is practical of just like rehashing and kind of explaining things is not dramatic and so it's always about the ticking clock and we don't have time for this, so we got to
Hmm.
talk about the current crisis. We're not going to sit here and go over things in detail. But I think when you're following a story for a long time, it can be really frustrating. Like, we don't have time for this. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, no,
Hmm.
it does. God damn it.
Yeah, it totally
It's
matters.
actually important. I mean, the whole thing with Jack and his dad is like, it's fundamental. And I feel like the realization of the smoke monster using Jack's dad's image to manipulate them, I just feel like that should have been a bigger deal.
Hmm.
It kind of just disappears from the plot. I think right now. Wait, no, not yet. He's gonna come back one more time, right? He's
Hmm.
at the barracks, and then it disappears. And as soon as he's Locke, he's done with
It
that.
would have been nice if somehow Jack could have pieced those two things together, that I was being manipulated by someone who looks like my dad, and now
Yes,
Locke is manipulating people. Oh, maybe that's not really Locke.
exactly.
Yeah, that would have
Yeah,
been the way to do it.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's part of the problem too with the end game is I feel like from what I remember, like all the characters are just a step behind.
yeah.
So that would have been nice if Jack could have gotten ahead of the game there and like suspected Locke. And I feel like if Saeed wasn't weird by that point in the story, he would have been the character to be like, I don't trust him, something's
Right,
wrong,
right.
like.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But of course, he's zombie Saeed, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll do whatever you say until I'm done and ready to die.
Oh, geez, kill him already. What a, yeah, sad sack. He was like Eeyore.
Yes, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Saeed is Eeyore.
So, Canton Rainer is an anagram for reincarnation.
Oh, that's the fuck you reincarnation.
Yeah,
Oh God,
yeah,
I
yeah.
hate you.
Mm-hmm.
That's so annoying. But yeah, I forgot. I forgot. There's, there was the thing with the node, and it's like Locke's dead, isn't he? Like, they're laying the groundwork for this fake out that he's gonna
Mm-hmm.
come back to life, and it's when it's so irritating.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Reincarnation.
you buy into the sense of hope
Richard said I had to
that
die. Like,
that
yeah, and then be
that
reborn.
that Locke, who started out on the show as one of the most interesting characters, went down this path of annoyingness with his dogged determination to be special and to keep everyone on the island. And as we talked about before, he's basically the main antagonist on the show. When Ben and Kimi aren't around,
Right.
and Man in Black, of course, and well, he is Man in Black at a certain point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing, is like you don't get that, you don't really go there with it by the end. Yeah, it's just the whole Locke thing just really bothers me. Like but yeah, that thing in the end where when he comes back, or he seemingly is reincarnated or whatever, back from the dead. Don't forget the Walt thing, right? I saw you standing on the
Oh
beach.
God, they wanted
You
to hurt you,
know,
John.
yeah, exactly.
I
And
was
it's just
watching
like,
something else where something like that happens. Okay, this is gonna be a bad story. Go ahead.
oh, let me know.
So I'm like, if I can't remember what it is, this is gonna suck.
Yeah,
But
I
there was,
won't go
I
anywhere.
was watching something else where what had happened was a character has a dream where they see someone, but then it turns out that it wasn't. It was just a different person impersonating that person.
Is the show you're talking about Lost?
Damn it! Damn it! It was Lost.
This is
No,
Lost
wait.
all along.
No, wait. I think. Hold on. Is it? Is it Mulholland Drive? Did something like that happen in Mulholland Drive?
Well, depends on what you mean by impersonation. There's definitely dreams.
Yeah, I was trying. Yeah, I had. There was something I had that put it together where it was something like that happened, but now I don't remember what it was. I think it was Mulholland Drive. Anyway, I had some. There was something about somebody saying they had a dream. Oh wait, who says they had a dream? Oh fuck. And then and what they dream is actually like misleading. Basically, it makes them think one thing, but the reality was something else. But now I can't remember what that was.
That's, first of all, it's the whole movie. Uh, but within
I
the
have a
context of
specific
that,
connection, but now I don't remember what it was. God damn it! So
it
frustrating.
wasn't. Was it having to do with the Winky's dream? The
Could have
guy Winky's
been.
in his dream?
Could have been.
Hmm.
But I don't think so. Though that would make sense.
Hmm. Well, it'll come to you. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was just
Sorry.
gonna say that whole thing about feeding into the audience's hope for Locke that he would come back strong, and be that guy we saw in season one who was sort of aligned
Oh
with his
yeah.
sense of self, and his sense of purpose, and most shows would have given Locke something good by at some point. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't think he ever. I mean, he had some nice moments with Helen.
Mm-hmm.
He played backgammon with Walt.
Right.
Um, are those the highlights of his life? I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like every other part of his story was either a false victory or a complete failure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that, I would say.
Yeah, so that's why
Um,
in season 6, when he seems like he's back, you go, yeah, finally, great, cool, Locke, and it's not even him.
of course.
And
Yeah.
what's worse is
The final insult.
it's not that it's not even him. What's worse is it's evil incarnate. It's the main antagonist, main villain, and what's worse is this main villain guy orchestrated the whole thing.
Yeah.
And now he gets to parade around in your skin and ruin your reputation to all your friends.
Yeah, and I feel like there's another level that, you know, I don't know if it's really intentional, but it's just kind of a consequence of how the story's written that, you know, he portrays himself as Locke initially, obviously, and
Mm-hmm.
I think he scanned the dead body. I mean, he ends up knowing Locke's dying thoughts, so
Yeah.
I feel like he must be able to do that, and you know, he's scammed Locke before, so it's not, you know.
Oh, that makes me think of the Miles thing. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to that. That's true.
I
Um,
wonder. Oh, okay.
yeah, is there a connection there?
I got something to say about that, but I'll let you finish your point.
Okay. I was just gonna say that uh, I feel like he knows, you know, from scanning Locke, like what his, you know, he obviously knows what his weaknesses are, but I think he also knows like what Locke wants to be. And in a way, like he portrays himself as a kind of parody of what Locke wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like here's me acting like I know Locke wanted to act. You know,
Yeah, because that convinces the other people around him that that's really Locke.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's also kind of insulting because he knows Locke was never actually that.
He and could never have been that,
I
and
could
was
never
never
have been
that, and
that.
will never be that.
Exactly.
All the permutations therein.
Exactly. Yeah, so I feel like that's like extra, you know, in addition to
Mm-hmm.
just the you know, the more obvious insults that he does after he kind of reveals himself.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably outwittled him too, right?
I'm sure he did. He could probably throw knives way better.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. He's a master backgammon player. He's been playing for 2,000 years. Somehow older than the game.
Yeah, wow.
Um, well, I was just thinking about Man in Black's powers. I was just wondering if, like, I don't think there's that many people with powers to really flesh this theory out. But I was just thinking, like, if the humans with powers basically just had subsets of Man in Black's powers. So, like, Man in Black
Mm-hmm.
can scan dead people and read their thoughts.
Right,
So Miles can do that.
right.
You know, Man in Black. I would say Man in Black can see dead people, so Hurley can do
He
that. But
can,
Man in
that's
Black,
true.
yeah. So
He
he
sees
can.
his mother. She's the one who
Hmm.
tells him. She even conveys information. She tells him that she was murdered and leads him to the people.
Hmm.
And so yeah, that's that's a huge thing. So presumably he can still see dead people, even though, you know, most of the time we don't see him seeing dead people. But part of that is just because we're not following Man in Black most of the time.
Yeah. Um.
So anyway, Hurley's powers do count,
Hmm.
and he might be resistant to electromagnetism. I mean,
Oh yeah, the
throw it out
Desmond
there.
thing. Yeah, and that's it. And then actually, now that we talk about it, that was a theory I was gonna throw out before when we were trying to make sense of.
He doesn't
Ma-
age. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah. When we were trying to make sense of Man in Black as Christian in the Donkey Wheel Cave, um, I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to give him a Desmond like power, and it's kind of what we were saying about projecting yourself. But I was thinking, the show talks a lot about consciousness time travel, so I was thinking maybe that's kind of the thing he was doing, where he was still in the future, but it was his consciousness that was time traveling and appearing to Locke, which is sort of saying the same thing
Oh,
as
right.
projecting himself,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but making it specifically
Technical.
like
Yeah.
like how he's doing it with what they've
Right.
shown on the show
Desmond
before.
type power specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess yeah, the Walt we already talked about the Walt thing.
Yeah.
Like projecting off the island or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you could even tie in the dreams. I mean, Walt had some weird dream related stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
It seemed like potentially he was able
And
to.
what's interesting now that if we want to throw this in there, it's not quite a supernatural power, but Ben has a sort of claiming power in terms of his ability to manipulate people. You
That's
know,
true. That's
he
true.
he claimed Saeed and turned him into a
That's
killer.
very true.
You know,
Yeah, that's part of exactly.
and that
Yeah.
actually is a thing that they did say about Man in Black. That whole urban legend. If he speaks to you,
Mm-hmm.
you're
It's
already
already too
something.
urban legend or like just like true true
Yeah,
fact.
or I should say jungle legend. Um,
Yeah, it is a jungle legend. That's true. That's true.
yeah, wow. Yeah, it's interesting. You could almost line up all of his powers with other people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean the only thing you can't do that with is like the literal like smoke monster flying around thing.
Yeah, I couldn't give anybody telekinesis.
Because Walt had a little bit of the mind reading as well.
Oh, yeah.
He had that when he touched Locke. Don't open it, Mr. Locke.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Uh, yeah, interesting. So I think at this point, like most of the main Losty characters like aren't even on the island anymore, right? I think it's just
Who you counting as main?
well,
Sawyer and Jen.
yeah, Sawyer, Jin,
Like, does Julia count?
Juliet. Yeah, I mean she's not the OG, but yeah.
Miles? Faraday?
I mean from the original cast, it's
Original
just
cast, yeah.
I guess
Sawyer and
Claire,
Jen. Claire,
Sawyer and
technically.
Jen, yeah.
Yeah. Claire in the future, but yeah.
But it's crazy. There's more characters off the island now than on the island.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Rose and Bernard. I guess there they are somewhere.
Oh, yeah,
Like retired. When the time traveling started, we decided to retire.
yeah. And we picked up these southern accents somehow. Oh well, the island is mysterious. All right. Anything else?
uh No, I think that's pretty much it. It's an interesting episode. Definitely has some eventful moments. Um and things are kind of coming to a head, as you can see. It's a pivot point for going back to the island. Like
Mm-hmm.
basically after this, they're going to be going back, and I think all they really have left to do is filling in a few gaps of what happened before this, but those end up being framed as flashbacks. Like by the time we find that stuff out, they're already back.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So so yeah, it's kind of a huge turning point, and I think it worked pretty well. It felt a bit less like it was actually, even though of course they're going to come back on board for various reasons, good reasons and not so good reasons. It was kind of nice to see Kate and Saeed just say like, "Fuck this."
Yeah, it was great.
This is ridiculous.
I wish Kate would have given Saeed a ride, but that's fine.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Saeed
Go
just
a
had to
different
walk.
way. Yeah. And if I see you or you again, oh jeez, it'll be very unpleasant.
Very unpleasant for all
That's
of
my
us.
That's my least favorite type of threat, when it's like vague.
Mm-hmm.
Be very unpleasant. What does that mean?
Yeah.
You'll be like standing on a rock or something and make your
Mhm.
feet hurt. I don't know. All right. Well, we'll be back next time with 316.
Ooh. Don't you ever ask me about Aaron.
Oh yeah. Oh geez.
Classic moment.
Classic. Whatever you do, don't you ever.
Ever.
Wow. Oh, wow. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back next time. Until then, thanks and namaste.
Namaste and good luck.